We have some health news for you now. There is controversy and confusion surrounding a report of the World Health Organization on the artificial sweetener aspartame, saying it may cause cancer. Our senior health correspondent, Monica Roberts, is here now to explain what we need to know. A lot of controversy about this, a lot of talk about it.
A lot of controversy and a lot of talk about it. And I think the biggest message I can tell everyone is do not panic, and here's why.
The World Health Organization said aspartame is a possible carcinogen, specifically relating to liver cancer. But they added much more research is needed. Possible is the key word. It does not mean definitely. It does not mean probably. The WHO did not change the amount of what's considered a safe level. The FDA says aspartame is one of the most studied sweeteners and says 50 milligrams a day, which is about 15 cans of diet pop for a 132-pound person, or 75 packets of sweetener, is still a safe level. That certainly doesn't mean that's what you should be consuming.
WHO guidance, though, is making us realize that we need to be more aware of our sweetener intake. And if we are consuming sweeteners every single day, common sense might tell us to then reduce that.
Dr. Rafner Bassan is a registered dietitian, and she's researching the impact of sucralose on those with inflammatory bowel disease. In mice, she says the sweetener caused an inflammatory reaction and changed the gut microbiome. She wants to know if that happens in humans. She says all sweeteners should be used in moderation.
We know that microbiome plays a role in chronic disease and our response to things, but more research is needed, specifically disease-specific research.
Can't repeat that enough. The key here, more research needed, especially disease-specific. Now, there have been several studies that have linked artificial sweeteners to a higher chance of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity. One reason may be because sweeteners are so much sweeter than actual sugar. It actually tricks your brain into wanting more. Bottom line, moderation is key, and if you're drinking a dozen cans of Diet Pop a day, probably time to start cutting back.
As you said off the top, do not panic, certainly,
Right.
but if someone does have a risk of liver cancer, should they stop using aspartame?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the WHO reviewed existing literature. There was no new research to this study, and the results found no new health risks. So it gave the sweetener the second lowest risk level, which is on par with aloe vera and pickled vegetables. Now, if you have a risk, talk to your healthcare provider. Eating clean and healthy, obviously the best option for all of us, and drink more water.
There you go.
It has no aspartame.
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that, or calories, so there you go.
All good. All right, Monica, thanks a lot.
Sure.